Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the show on this Monday, the 29th of November 2021. Thank you for tuning in. Glad to have you guys here. Of course, you guys have all heard there's a new variant out there. Well, here's the thing. We have entered right now into a period of uncertainty right now. I've never seen a period of more uncertainty than right now at this moment of what's going to happen in the future. And this period of uncertainty has moved into the markets. What I'm seeing in the markets today is markets that are somewhat hopeful, but at the same time, they're very, very hesitant. It's basically like, you ever seen an airplane circling around an airport and he's in what's called a holding pattern? This is what the markets are doing right now. They're in this holding pattern because they don't know. It's uncertainty right now. They don't know which way this whole thing's going to turn. And I don't really know either. This is a black swan event. And the fact that it could become a massive black swan, or it could somewhat blow over. You're going to have to wait and see. But this much I can tell you is it has the potential to become a really, really bad black swan. And I'm going to tell you exactly why. Is because we are in a position now. We've been through a crisis that's lasted for years, and the economy now has moved into inflation. And what this basically means is the only hope for this inflation is the Federal Reserve and their tightening, and the central banks and their tightening. This is the hope for deflationists out there, that we're not going to have extremely high inflation. And investors out there, they have this transition point. They have two different plays, what they do for inflation or deflation. And right now they're caught in the middle, so it's a very uncertain period right now. Investors don't know which way to turn, and the markets don't know which way to turn. And we're kind of like at this crossroads right now, and it all depends on what happens in the very near future from this crossroads that we're at right now. So I don't have an awful lot to report to you on the subject of this new variant, because they don't know very much yet. But we're going to take a look at the markets now and see what the markets are actually doing. And like I say, everything is kind of on hold. It's in a holding pattern. But there are some notable things I want to show you in the markets today. Very notable things. And we're going to get the chart started right here. Okay, the first thing I want to show you guys is we're seeing a declining price in gold. Gold's at $1,784. But it's been in this territory before, and it's bounced back. You see, it's declining right now, but it's done the same thing. It's basically following a pattern in a very narrow trading range. Let's take a look right now at silver. Silver, we're looking at very similar chart pattern. Of course, gold and silver follow each other. Silver's at $22.98. It's very, very cheap right now, guys. And, you know, it all depends on which way this thing goes. What do you guys think? Do you guys think further lockdowns are coming? Do you guys think that that everything is just going to go back to the way it was? It depends. If everything goes back to the way it was, what we're looking at is the Fed continuing this tightening program. Okay? But if things descend into a chaotic situation, or turn in the opposite direction, then there could be more stimulus coming. The economy now at this point, because we're moving into inflation, more stimulus, more supply chain disruptions, more measures against the viruses, is going to yield more price increases on everything you buy and purchase. That's what's going to yield. Because we already have supply chain disruptions that have grown tremendously large. You snag them up even more. In other words, you slow down, like, it's making it hard for transit and stuff. This hard for ships to get into port, hard for things to get on the shelves, you know. And of course, consumer demand, especially if we get more stimulus measures, people are going to have money to buy, but nothing to buy. Of course, prices go way up. Then that's fuel for inflation. So that's why I say we're in this holding pattern. If you think markets can't go up higher, if you think the stock market and your equity market can't go up higher, you're wrong. It can go much higher. In an inflation, it can go to the moon. The price of Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies and the price of your gold and silver, all these things can go to the moon if you're into a profoundly bad inflation. But the opposite side of this is deflation, where prices can actually drop. We're walking a knife's edge right now, the economy. It has been for quite a while between inflation and deflation. That's why we're at this crossroads right now. Which way is this thing going to flop? I have to watch it very carefully. $22.98 for silver today. It's down 11 cents. We're going to take a look at cryptocurrencies, and we're going to have to refresh the page to get a price. It's at 25.80 right there. Let's refresh 25.73, so it's dropping a little bit. But it's been holding around the same price of $57,164 for a Bitcoin. Bitcoin is the biggest coin amongst the cryptocurrencies in the cryptocurrency industry, with a market capitalization over $1 trillion. Let's take a look at the Dow Jones, and we're up 349 points on the day so far. But still, we've seen that big drop. So it's still down lower than it was, you know. It's in that holding pattern. In fact, all the markets are. Basically, gold, silver, cryptocurrencies, looking at the Dow. This is basically, even though it's up today, it's still, I consider it to be in a holding pattern. They're waiting for further news, is basically what's happening, to make their decisions on what they're going to do. Let's take a look at crude oil today, 72.80. It's down it's up $4 and wow. Now crude oil is a big mover today. Look at this. 72.80. It's up 6.82%. That's a big leap in the price of crude oil today. That's a big one-day move in crude oil. Let's take a look at the MOVE index. And this is a big leap in the MOVE index too today. So we got some big movements today in the markets. Crude oil's moving big, and so is the MOVE index. MOVE index is almost 90 right now. We've moved into instability territory in the credit markets, with the MOVE index getting up to 90. It's starting to become, that's instability in the credit markets. This is an index that the Fed keeps her eye on very closely, and when it gets high, the Fed gets nervous. Let's take a look at bonds and rates. That MOVE index might be signaling a problem right now. Let's take a look now at the bonds, and what we're looking at here with the bonds is we're looking at U.S. 30-year and an inversion here between the U.S. 20-year and 30-year. We're looking at an inversion of quite large. It's grown quite large. It's like 7 or 8 basis points. 1.96 on the U.S. 20-year and 1.89 on the U.S. 30-year. Looking at the 10-year, it's at 1.56. So there's your bonds today. Let's take a look now at the U.S. dollar index, see what it's doing. The dollar index is at 96.34 and climbing today. It's up it's up a quarter of a penny. That's what it's up today, 96.34. I'll tell you guys, I am watching this story so carefully, hour by hour. to see what's going to unfold, because this is a potential huge black swan event, depending on the reactions of governments to this. We're going to have to wait and see, guys. It's one of those things where you have to be patient and see how it plays out. I'm not going to jump right in there, and I'm not going to say, hey, you know, this is going to be absolutely the black swan. It might not be, but it has a potential to be a huge black swan. And that potential lies in the reaction, because we've reached a point now with the financial system where another big push, big stimulus, would push us toward hyperinflation really, really fast. And hyperinflation is like a snowball going down a hill. It just suddenly, it's like an avalanche. It can move really fast at a certain point once people lose confidence. And everybody starts to do the same thing. It's like a herd mentality, you know. Like a bunch of cows, they can all be standing there. 1,000 head of cows out there in the field, all standing there. And stand there for hours, and you're watching them, and all of a sudden a stampede can begin out of nowhere. That's the way with this. That's the way with the herd mentality of the financial markets. And right now they're sitting there, and they're like in this holding pattern. They don't know what to do either. They're sitting there, they're like the big herd of cows. They don't know what to do. They could stampede in any different direction right now. We're living in extremely turbulent times right now. These are frightening times. This is really, really, really bad. I have never seen anything like it in my life, and now we've moved into a new, just in this last week, we've moved into a new critical part of this whole thing. Thank you guys for listening. Like and subscribe, and we'll catch you guys in the next show. Bye-bye.